Good evening, Maverley News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Tuesday, September 16, 2025. And in the news this evening, toddler among two shot and killed in Maverley. A 2-year-old is among two people who were shot and killed Monday evening on Greenmead Road, Maverley in St. Andrew. The child has been identified as Kajon Jackson from Nannyville, and the other deceased is 25-year-old Kimarley Powell from the community. Another man was also shot and injured during the attack, the police said. It is reported that about 7:15 p.m., a group of people were sitting on a bench in the community when a vehicle drove up the lane, made a U-turn, stopped and opened a fire. The police are investigating. Jamaica among Caribbean countries named on U.S. drug list. 4 Caribbean community countries have been listed in United States President Donald Trump's determination on major drug transit or major illicit drug producing countries for fiscal year 2026, submitted to the U.S. Congress. According to the document, Trump has identified the Bahamas, Belize, Haiti, and Jamaica as major transit or major illicit drug producing countries. The other countries named are Afghanistan, Bolivia, Burma, the People's Republic of China, Colombia, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, India, Laos, Mexico, Nicaragua, Pakistan, Panama, Peru, and Venezuela. Trump noted that a country's presence on the list is not necessarily a reflection of its government's counter-drug efforts or level of cooperation with the United States. But he said, consistent with the statutory definition of a major drug transit or major illicit drug producing country outlined in the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961, the reason countries are placed on the list is a combination of geographic, commercial, and economic factors that allow drugs or precursor chemicals to be transferred or produced, even if a government has engaged in robust and diligent narcotics control and law enforcement measures. He said that Afghanistan, Bolivia, Burma, Colombia, and Venezuela have failed demonstrably during the previous 12 months to both adhere to their obligations under international counter-narcotic agreements and to take the measures required by the FAA. Trump told the Congress that the transnational organized crimes, trafficking of fentanyl, and other deadly illicit drugs into the United States has created a national emergency, including a public health crisis in the United States that remains the leading cause of death for Americans ages 18 to 44. He said more than 40% of Americans know someone who has died from an opioid overdose, and in 2024, the United States averaged over 200 deaths daily due to illicit drugs. This remains unacceptable, and my administration is deploying every aspect of American power and unprecedented resources to defeat this threat to our nation. Trump spoke of the various measures being implemented by his administration to keep the country safe from drug dealers, including using the full range of law enforcement and military resources. For the first time in 4 years, our border is no longer an open safe for drug terrorist cartels, human traffickers, and all others who would do our country harm. American lives are being saved, with overdose deaths finally starting to recede significantly for the first time in over a decade. He said he has also marshaled the United States' economic strength to compel greater cooperation from its North American neighbors to confront the drug threat and do their part. While the United States will devote all necessary resources to punish criminals, enabling the production, transportation, and the smuggling of illicit drugs across our borders, I will also call on countries where these drugs originate and transit to fulfill their obligations and shut off these supplies or face serious consequences. While the United States President gave detailed accounts of the drug situation in some of the countries identified as major transit or major illicit drug producing countries, he did not give any specific explanation for putting the CARICOM countries on the list. Teens are charged with housebreaking. The Westmoreland police have charged the 2 teen boys with housebreaking and larceny following an incident at the Churchill-Lincoln, Grange Hill in the parish on September 10. Reports from the Grange Hill police are that a woman and her daughter securely locked their dwelling house and left about 9 p.m. to go to a nearby shop. While at the establishment, the woman's daughter reportedly saw one of the teens running from their house while the other stood nearby. On returning, the woman observed that her door had been forced open and the $70,000 was missing. An alarm was raised and the community members joined the woman in searching for the teens. They were later accosted in a section of the community and handed over to the police. The teens were subsequently charged after they gave a statement under caution admitting to the crime. They are scheduled to appear in the Westmoreland Family Court this week. Vendors impatient even as mayor promises repairs come in for Falmouth Market restrooms. Vendors at the Falmouth Market in Trelawney are again calling for proper restrooms at the facility amid complaints of non-functioning toilets, lack of water, and raw sewage flowing on the floors. The vendors also report that only 2 of 8 toilets work at the facility and that they have to fetch water with a bucket to flush them. Susan, a vendor at the market, describes the situation as messy. "I am diabetic, so I use the bathroom frequently. I pay $2,000 weekly for a fee and still pay $50 to use the bathroom. Each time I go, I have to hopscotch over sewage water. It's a messy situation," she said. Mayor Colin Gager said he was aware of the situation. He told the news, "I am aware of the challenges at the market." Minister Desmond McKenzie promised $3 million towards rectifying the challenges. It cannot come too soon. The market, built by the Port Authority, was opened in 2019. Norman Scott's lawyer criticizes police handling of assault case. Attorney-at-law Charles Ganga Singh, who represents the mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott, has sharply criticized the Jamaica Constabulary Force over what he describes as the one-sided handling of assault charges brought against his client. Mayor Scott, who was the People's National Party's candidate for St. Elizabeth Southeastern in the September 3 parliamentary general election, has been charged with assault, occasioning actual bodily harm, and the malicious destruction of property. That arose from an incident at a polling station in Junction, St. Elizabeth on Election Day. Mr. Ganga Singh, who addressed the matter on the news on Monday, expressed a concern about how the situation has been handled by the police so far, describing it as deeply troubling. He asserted that his client acted in self-defense and had indicated to the police his intention to file a report.
My concern today is the same concern as it was yesterday when the media was getting in touch with me and when we heard the report. It's one-sided. There was much fanfare done about my client's charge, but there's no mention about any report of my client against the assault meted out to him. My client's case is of self-defense, and he was the one who was actually assaulted based on my instructions. I was just reminded that from the very beginning, Norman Scott communicated with the police and informed them of his intention to make a report. But on the day after the incident, Thursday the 4th, he attended his physician and got a medical report to indicate the injuries that he sustained.
According to the Black River Police, Mr. Scott overstayed his allotted time at a polling station, and when an official attempted to notify him, a disturbance occurred during which Mr. Scott allegedly struck the official before being escorted from the premises by his security detail. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.